What is up, everybody? We're just gonna start it off like that. Welcome everybody to another episode of the award-winning. I ain't really win no awards. Put it in universe though. Uh Welcome everybody to another episode of InfoSec Unplugged. I am your host, Davin Jackson, also known as DJax Alpha. I thank you for joining. I know you. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of InfoSec Unplugged. I am your host, Davin Jackson. And I guess we're waiting for our guest to arrive, but I had to do a couple things I wanted to talk about anyway. So, first of all, you might be wondering why I did that little flashback to an episode I did a couple months ago now. Because I started off the episode by saying, welcome to the award winning InfoSec Unplugged, and I was joking at the time, but I said I was putting it in the universe. And now, after a couple weeks, we're just going to start off with this again. And I'm doing that because now I can officially say, ladies and gentlemen, everybody watching, welcome to the award-winning InfoSec Unplugged, because this show and your host, yours truly, has been awarded the Content Creator of the Year from the Blacks in Cybersecurity group. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that again. And I am truly, truly grateful to the Blacks in Cybersecurity group. I am truly, truly grateful to all of you who have supported this show and have rocked with me from when I had no viewers to a couple viewers to a couple people on YouTube. And then we moved over to YouTube and Twitch. And then we also moved over to YouTube, Twitch, and LinkedIn, which, by the way, unfortunately, we're having some technical difficulties. So if you are looking for someone, if you are looking for the show on Twitch, it's not on there. If you know somebody who's watching the show on Twitch, please let them know to come check us out over here on YouTube and Twitch. Now, I guess while I'm waiting, I'm still waiting for our guest, Metisha Harper, but that's fine because I also want to talk about a couple things. So if you follow me on YouTube, then I'm not YouTube. If you follow me on Twitter, then you'll know that I've brought back the month of action. And what the month of action is where we all a bunch of us hold each other accountable and just talk about what goals we want to do and what we want to accomplish for that month or the next couple months. And we all come together to try to figure out how we can help each other. It's supposed to be about productivity and positivity, which in this day and time right about now, we could all use some positivity and some uplifting. So the month of action is back. If you are interested, just follow the month of action hashtag on Twitter. Tag me in there, let me know what your goals are, and we'll hopefully, someone can help you or you can help somebody else. So, just make sure you do that. Go follow the hashtag on Twitter, hashtag month of action. I see some people put it in the chat already. Kalila Scott put it in the chat. So again, month of action. Let's get it. Let's get it going. Let's help one another. Like I said, I put my goals in there. My goal is to finish up one of my certifications that I'm working on. I want to create a little bit more content. I want to lose some weight. I'm going to another island sometime soon, and I want to make sure that my stripper body is on point. Don't tell my wife I said that. I'm sorry. No, but and I want to also submit a couple talks for some upcoming conferences. So those are my goals, and share your goals and share what you want to do, and then we'll keep each other accountable. Check in every week and see what's going on. So again, I am waiting on my guest. I sent her the link. So we were supposed to have Metisha Harper on, but in the meantime, I guess you'll just have to deal with my beautiful mug. So while we're waiting, why don't you let everybody know, let us know in the chat how you're doing. Let us know in the chat what you're doing, what you're working on, what's going on in the meantime while I am scrambling and losing my mind in the background. I see Charles is in here. What's going on, Charles? Thank you. I appreciate it. There we go. Kalila with the month of action. Charles, hashtag month of action. Devana's here. The Blacks in Cybersecurity group is here. Again, thank you for the prestigious award. I appreciate the love. We see percussive maintenance underway. Hey, maybe that's from the beats, from the beat we were playing earlier. So let's see here. We got Charles says, I'm feeling great. I've been working out and red teaming. Man, listen, I'm actually getting back into it. I guess I can hold on. That's dope. Congratulations, Charles. I might have to get what your secret tips are. TC says studying to retake my Security Plus. Man, go ahead, study. Anything I can do to help. Check up. Catch up on the on YouTube. There's some great resources on YouTube as well. So Business Mentorship and Technology says catching up on sleep. Been working 50 to 65 hours a week since February. Man, yes, please get that. please catch up on that sleep. Catch up on that sleep and try to avoid that burnout. We gotta get that right. Kalila says trying to have that hot boy summer. Listen, I'm that married man summer. I'm trying to go out there and do a little something and make my wife have to go fight for my love. Now, JE says not bad, balancing things, working on reading some of these books. Hey, that's never a bad thing. That's never a bad thing. So let's see here. We are okay. I guess we just gonna rock out while we're waiting. Yep. Hashtag married man summer. Absolutely. Absolutely. So since we're talking about the month of action, why don't y'all, if you want to share, why don't you share some of your goals or things that you want to work on, this, at least starting this month. I'm thinking, depending on how we'll do, month of action into the summer of progress or something like that. And we'll see how we can keep building this and keep going, because I definitely feel like this is something that, is necessary. There's been a lot of things going on. Obviously we know what's going on in the news. Prayers to everybody from Uvalde to Buffalo to yesterday in Tulsa. I don't want to go too much on a soapbox rant about this, but I definitely feel like this has to stop and things have to change. And unfortunately it's just more of the same. So again, with everything going on, I just feel like doing something that could help bring the people together is definitely necessary. Even in our little bubble or our little community called Cybersecurity or InfoSec Twitter or whatever it is you want to call it, there has been a lot of things that's been going on that has been upsetting and quite frankly disappointing. But I'm not trying to focus on that. Got trying to follow in the brother Charles's footsteps and just be about that positivity. Like I said, I can also officially announce that I am no longer a free agent. I am back. I am back in the field, doing some pen testing stuff, working on red team engagements and other things. Hopefully there'll also be some other things down the pipeline. We'll see how it goes. You guys know me by now. If things don't pan out, we always just kind of go back to the drawing board. So JE says they're just trying to keep a balance on the next few months. Current events are bound to distract us. There's always a new exploit, so that's been a distraction. We got to stay on our goals. Absolutely. There's always got to be there's always something. So let's see. Charles says awesome and congrats. I appreciate it. TC says congrats. Appreciate it. It says we knew you weren't going to be a free agent for long. No, I honestly I wasn't really too worried about it. I was a little upset about how the last situation went down, but you gotta be, I can't be on here every week telling everybody to, know your worth and never accept for anything less, and then turn around and deal with the nonsense on my own, so got to definitely, speak up and stand up for myself and things like that. And, things happen. But that's exactly why, everything I do here is Alpha Cybersecurity, and it's not associated or affiliated with any other company or my employer, because at the end of the day, this is mine. So, I'm going to applaud myself for that, because many many have tried to get on the show or take the show or whatever, and and they have all failed. So Professor Black Ops says getting those AWS certs. Yeah, absolutely. Charles says I've been getting my Commodore 64 for my fun hobby. No, hey, so it's funny. My son actually was working on where we have a cabinet in our living room, and we were putting a bunch of old systems together and stuff like that. And I actually found like an RF adapter that converts to HDMI. So that was actually helpful. I bought one of those and then added that to like my HDMI splitter. So we got a little retro gaming set there. This thing you see back here, it also acts as my retro gaming system. I have a whole bunch of games on there. Maybe we'll talk offline about how to get those. So it looks like my guest has arrived, but before I do that, let me just double check and make sure I didn't see anything else. So Charles says this month I'm working on my 0-point red team ops certification. I haven't heard of that one. I'm gonna have to look that one up. And then we see, where are we? I know Ty said he was working on there it is, learning PowerShell and Python 3. That's a good one to do. My son's actually working on Python, and I think he said JavaScript. He wants to do that. So trying to take it back to when computers were fun. Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being patient. I've been sitting here talking y'all ear off by myself now for a little bit, and I know y'all not here to see me. Y'all are here to talk to my guest, and I don't blame you. She is someone who is very active on social media, mainly Twitter, someone who's kind of come onto the scene in the last, I'd probably say, year to 18 months, and has just been killing it. Extremely honest and humble, and a really good person. So, ladies and gentlemen, everybody watching, please welcome my guest, Metisha Harper, also known as Lil Ms. Muffin Cup on Twitter. I'm going to bring her in now, and we're going to give her a round of applause. Ma'am.
Man. How's my audio, firstly?
No, your audio is fine. You had to make an appearance. I guess you had to be a fashionably late.
I wish it was a fashionably late. It's a sick late. I actually called out today. I went to the doctor. I got a shot. The shot laid me out flat, and in my mind or in my subconscious, I'm getting ready for the event, and I'm at that point where I look up and I'm like, oh, I'm late. And then in my mind, this is going on while I'm asleep. And then I get myself together. We have a great show. And then the reality kicks in, and it's like, oh, you really were late. This show never happened. You're not there.
Well,
you said just now, honest. And I was just like, yep, there's no way out of this. You just got to come right out and say it as is, because what else is there to say? How else, that is me. So yeah, things happen. We have technical difficulties, and we also have days where, these things happen too. As much as you want to plan for them, and I had my whole outfit laid out and everything. I was going to curl my hair. I'm here looking all busted and dusty, like I just came off the side of the street, but I'm here.
That's all that matters. So I'm sorry to hear that you weren't feeling well, and I'm glad that you are here for the show. And I think everybody else is. And before I go any further, I also have to do another round of applause because you were also a winner of a Blacks in Cybersecurity award. So I should have also announced you as, ladies and gentlemen, everybody watching, please welcome my guest and the Blacks in Cybersecurity Up Next award winner, Metisha Harper, and then did this. But, and just so you know, no one's worried about it. My wife says you look beautiful. Zanette says you're here and that's what matters. Feel better. Charles says sending you some positive healing vibes. Kalila Scott says you still look cute, sis, and we're happy you made it. So, and then Tavana also gives you a round of applause. So clearly, you're not upsetting anybody here. So again, welcome and thank you for joining the show. And for those who aren't familiar with you, please go ahead and give yourself a brief introduction.
Sure. Hi. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tish, originally from the beautiful Twin Island of Trinidad and Tobago. I'm a mom, first of all, and a pastry chef. I was also a flight student, graduated from college with a degree in aircraft operations that I've never used. Um, as I entered life, I went through, I want to say a really, really long list of jobs. My resume is like 4 pages long. If there was something to do and I felt like I wanted to try it, I would do it. So I've done anything from bartending to working on Wall Street with stocks. I've done call centers. I've done event management, setup, breakdown. Um, and finally, my last position was that of a flight attendant with United Airlines. And the pandemic came, but before the pandemic came, I decided that I was tired of people. Yeah, I know. Um, and I needed a break because standing up and saying, "Hi, welcome aboard," 300 times in one day just wasn't fun anymore. And I took a break for about a year, it would seem. And when I was ready to go back out to work, United was like, well, so there's this thing called the pandemic. Uh, you really want to do this or not? And my first job of that will always be a mom. And I also have a immunocompromised child. So going back out in the pandemic, being outside was absolutely something I couldn't do. And then I sat down for like about a couple days and just started playing around with stuff on the internet, trying to figure out like what else is there to do with life. If I wanted a particular job, what would I do? I became kind of depressed about going back to like a regular 9 to 5 because I was already spoiled with flying in the air. I had a lot of flexibility. I can work when I wanted to work. I can choose how many weeks I want to work, hours I want to work. So I kind of wanted something that resembled that. And just stumbled upon like a little Google ad and it had the word cybersecurity on it. And I just spent the next, I want to say, a couple of days just reading up as much as I could about cybersecurity, going down one rabbit hole after the next. And I think it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I just woke up and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do cybersecurity. Ooh, I'm gonna hack. Yes, that looks good. Actually, no. Actually, yes. So I was looking at the penetration tester, the requirements of it, and I'm reading it from a non-technical perspective, and the only thing that kept popping up was you gotta be defiant, you gotta be nosy, and you gotta learn to like not give up. And I was just like, ooh, nosy, that's me. That's definitely me. I am nosy. I could figure that out. Defiant, yes, because one of my personal mottos are there's always a way around no. I don't want my kids to hear this. And I had to make sure real quick. And it looked intriguing. It was something that I hadn't done, and it offered a bit of the lifestyle that I wanted. Um, so I think I posted somewhere on LinkedIn, which I was not active at the time. does anybody have cybersecurity resources? Nobody paid any attention to me. So I found a free resource, a school called Chris Scholars, and signed up for their cybersecurity program. So anyone that's in tech, I know this is the moment where you're like, wait, flight attendant, cybersecurity, CYS.
Well, I was gonna get to that, but go ahead.
So clearly, I have no friends because there was nobody to say, well, that's not the way it goes. That's not how you do it. You start at, at least A plus, maybe whole network plus. I don't know. What's your level at? What do you know? Because for the most part, every time I opened my laptop to do anything, I just went to look at shoes. I mean, I was one tap for Prada, one for Gucci, and then there was like a little, maybe like a little bit of shopping here, shopping. That was me on a computer. Linux, what was that? Command line, CLI. What are these things? But nevertheless, I signed up. I was, 100% committed to signing up. I had no idea how, no idea at all how I passed the elementary process. The screening process was good. It was nice. What do you want to do? Oh, I want to be in cybersecurity. How many years of experience do you have? None. But you said this requires no experience. Well, when we say no experience, it requires some experience. Hold on, let me go dig up that computer certificate I had from back in 98 when, it was one of those, yes, you stay in a class for the day and they teach you the parts of the computer. So yeah, I have experience. That was my experience.
You got something, right?
I mean, and I went into my little box, dug up the certificate that I brought with me from Trinidad over 20 years ago. This was in 1998. This was years ago, and I'm holding this piece of paper.
So you use that to get into the school.
They were like, "What experience do you have?" I'm like, "This is it. This is qualified because it says on the award. This award is for Tish Harper, whatever, for competently knowing something with computer studies. It worked. It for the most part it worked. So I got in. I got screened. I got into the program. They ran a whole 10-year background check. I'm like, what is this? The military?
Jeez.
All right. Um, and the next 4 months of my life were equally chaotic as they were exciting. I woke up so motivated every day. I was super, super happy to be challenging my brain, being in an environment that I knew nothing about, which I feel like I thrive on. The pushing myself to like all of those boundaries to figure it out and get it done. I often joke about this one particular time where I said Linux put me in the hospital because we were doing command line for a week. We were learning cheats and stuff like that. And let me tell you, there is, boy, and up to today, like I still can't even talk about it properly because it's so traumatic. I do not like Linux at all.
Don't let Charles hear you.
I don't like it at all.
She didn't mean it. She didn't mean it, Charles. She didn't mean it.
I'm sorry, Charles, but listen, I sat there trying to understand, CD dash dash, no dash, forward slash. Okay, no, this wasn't a forward slash, it was just no slash. Um, make a directory, couldn't come out of the directory, couldn't figure out how to, not just nothing. Anytime I tried anything, it completely backfired to the point where I was obsessed to understand it that much. I went close to around 3 days without sleep. And then my brain started to not communicate with my body. My words weren't coming out right. I was drinking coffee and driving, and I'm on day 2, and I'm talking to my mom, and I'm like, so I haven't slept yet, and it's about 2 days, but I'm okay. She's like, you should get some sleep. And I'm like, been trying to, but not for nothing. I couldn't sleep. And I remember she had just gotten like another booster shot or something, and I left her sleeping, called an Uber, went to the ER and signed myself in, explained to them what was going on, and then I got diagnosed with sleep anxiety insomnia because of Linux. Not me, because of Linux.
Okay. All
So
right.
there's that.
So hold that thought right there before we step any further. Let me reset, ladies and gentlemen. This is InfoSec Unplugged. I'm your host, Davin Jackson, and my guest is Metisha Harper. She was talking about her beef with Linux, and we're going to continue on with that. But again, for those who aren't familiar with the show, InfoSec Unplugged is my live podcast we do just about every Thursday. And you are more than welcome to ask me or my guest anything. Just keep it clean and respectful. I'm not like other podcasts, so you take that however you want to take that, but just know that the nonsense won't be tolerated here, and we're all about positivity, and we're gonna keep going. So Tish, so now you were talking about, how you got started and moving around, and you did this stuff with school and everything. Um, Other than Linux putting you in the hospital, did you find that initial transition or that initial process to be difficult?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, and sometimes I like to credit the fact that I was able to see it through because I picked the right the right cert to go for. CYSA is mostly like a lot. It's more reading based, and I am a reader by default. Had I gone with Networking Plus or something that was more like hands on and too wordy, I probably, you know what, this is absolutely too much for me, and let's try something else. Um, it is it's difficult. I made 48 hours out of a 24-hour day. I would, classes were 9 to 4. After 9 to 4, I would rest my eyes for 2 minutes, not like I did today. You know. Um, Wake up at 6 o'clock, study from 6 to 10, and take another break again, probably grab something extra, a second dinner. Um, and maybe like 2 o'clock, I would then go to sleep, and I'd be back up again in the morning by 7:30 to do like a little pre-work, pre-studying before class. Those were my days. I had no friends, no fun, no extracurricular activities, nothing outside of just this one laptop. I started networking. I reached out. I revamped my Twitter. My Twitter started looking very techy. I learned what hashtags you can put in front of or before or after a tweet to get attention. I started using that. I made friends with anyone I can make friends with. And I tend to, I don't judge anybody. So unless you do me something wrong, you'll always be good in my book. Um, and I try to stay out of drama, whether I know you're the source of the drama or not. Once it doesn't affect me directly, um,
Yeah.
you're good at my book. So I became friends with Phil Wiley, Alyssa Scott, Alyssa Knight, Alyssa Miller, Jonathan Scott, everybody's fave. And they've been like super influential. I can reach out to them at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I would definitely get a response. And I started using Twitter as a backup medium. It was a medium for support. It was a medium to push me to continue to getting this certificate because in school they kept stressing how difficult of a certification was. It was more of like a 5-year level cert. And I'd be brushing my teeth in the morning and looking at myself in the mirror like, what are you doing? um, you want to stop now? You want to go back maybe a little 2-3 years because Sometimes I call myself baby girl. I'm like, baby girl, this is not it. What we're doing, this is not it. This is some heavy stuff, for show and tell on Fridays when everybody would show what their projects were in class. People were building apps and people were, heavy in Python and coding and stuff like that. And then they'd get to me and they'd be like, okay, to show us what you're doing, what you did. And I would be like, I bought a keyboard and it lights up. Oh my gosh, guys, I have to show you my keyboard. So that's the reality of not knowing and just following your mind and just getting it done. I got it done, guys. I did that exam. I walked in, they butchered my picture. It was fine. Um, and I sat down there and I used every inch of my brain for that exam. Closed my eyes. I started crying because I'm like, there's no way I was passing this. And gave myself a whole 5-minute pep talk that we're going to do it again. We did great. Only to open my eyes and there was the congratulations sign that you see on the screen when you do a county exam. Yeah. And then obviously the cockiness stepped in after because I was like, yeah, you was going to get that done. So that was that.
So we're going to go ahead and give you an applause for that.
Thank you.
And I will say, and for one, for the most part, that is a great group of people that you listed earlier that helped you. And shout out to all of them who were very helpful and influential to you. And what I saw during that process when you were finishing up, because I think that's when we connected.
Mm-hmm.
Is that you were you maybe were screaming on the inside and were probably nervous and everything, but you definitely carried yourself like someone who was eager and willing to learn and willing to understand. I mean, I saw you in Twitter spaces or in different Twitter threads and, willing to be someone who would be a sponge. It's something like I tell my mentees, to be a sponge. And oftentimes you don't see that on Twitter, as you know now. Everybody seems to know the answer, or if they don't agree with the answer, then immediately they're throwing insults and accusing people of other things. But you really took everything that everybody said, whether it was me or if it was someone new, whether it was Phil, whether it was Jonathan, whoever it was, you actually took it and made it actionable. So I think with that, plus, your determination definitely paid off for that. And I mean, even with, dealing with the Linux stuff and all of that, you still persevered and got it done. So congratulations to you there. And then also, I want to get into the challenges that you faced after the certification, because I knew there were some, after you got it and it was kind of like, I'm here now. And then it was like, wait, what? Like, I think similar to what you were saying, where you were having the conversations with yourself about, do I want to take a step back? So what challenges did you face, after, immediately after? You talked about the challenges during. So what were your immediate challenges after getting that certification and then having to try to navigate getting into the field?
Sure. So after the certificate part, again, this was a super new industry to me. So I was just like in my mind thinking, hey, now I have this huge certification, I'm going to get a job. Totally ignoring the millions of tweets I saw that said, it is hard to get a job in this industry. I have a certificate, I can get a job. Let's do this. And I started throwing my resume out there. And after about a week, someone sent me a message and said, hey, can we have a conversation? And I'm like, ooh, job time, let's go. Got myself looking all pretty for that one-on-one. Only for this person to say, this resume is trash. You need to trash this resume. And I'm here like, my 60-second pitch in my mind. And very direct, which is great because I appreciate that. You tell me something like that, I'm crying on the inside, but I'm smiling on the outside, but I'm super grateful too, because it's like, all right, let's not sugarcoat it, because the rest of the conversation was very, very productive. The rest of the conversation was how to revamp this resume. And I rather that direct approach because it saves time. It we get to the point and then we figure out how to remedy it after. And that was the first shocker that I got after class, because it was just like, okay, I just spent a whole 4 months with training and a school and a teacher, and we redid this resume. Have you ever done a resume? I don't know if anybody is like, I have to do a resume, and their first response is, "Oh my gosh, yes, I love doing resumes," because how? No. So after I redid this resume, sent it to him, he approved it. We did a little stuff on Twitter, and I was back in action again, ready to go. Um, Ended up landing an interview with someone that said they wanted someone green for pen testing. And at that time, I think it was well known that I wanted to do pen testing with 0 years of experience in tech. Zero, I mean, besides that one certification, which was a blue cert, by the way. I just didn't want to stay in my lane. I wanted to go the complete opposite way. I wanted to be a hacker. It's all I could think of. Nothing else mattered. That's all I wanted to do, and I was focus driven. So I got an opportunity to get to hack a VM for 5 days, and it was the first time in my life that I actually could say, well, I had one of those movie moments, because I was like, dim down the lights, had a blue light somewhere in my chair, black hoodie on,
The,
and it was just like,
the
it was
hood,
like,
the hoodie is necessary.
there was the black hoodie, there was the cup, the cup of Dunkin'.
You gotta have the hoodie. The only thing that was missing was a Red Bull or an energy drink after that.
Yeah, but I was in character for those 5 days. I wasn't taking any calls. Anybody called me, hey, I'm busy. I can't do this right now. And these little fingers were moving so fast. The only thing missing was a crew, like a camera crew, because it was like, scene. All right, take one, action, let's go. Um, and I learned a lot for those 5 days. I got sick. I had to put everything on pause. I had to go back again. And was did a whole pen test. I did a whole pen test report. I read how to do a pen test report, the 8 bullet points, properly mirrored it the way that it was supposed to be. And I had that interview day where I met with a couple people from the team and the prospective person I was going to hire. I managed to do SQL injection, and I found a directory.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
And I'm there, and we're having a conversation, and they're asking, like, how did you do that? I kept screen prints of everything, and I'm running through like a whole presentation, because I did a presentation style, showing them step by step, this is what I did. And I'm there, and I'm confident. I'm going through everything. We're talking. We're doing everything great. And then they go, at the end of the conversation, they were like, "Well, we don't think it's gonna work." And my mind did not hear that. My mind heard, "We think you're gonna work." And I was like, "Yes, thank you so much." And they were like, "Okay, let's backtrack a little bit. It's not gonna work for us." And then my brain heard the "not" part, and I was just like, "Oh." Okay, so explain to me because from what I gathered, you said you wanted someone green. You said you wanted someone who has, a life outside of tech, a family, you want to train from scratch up. And here I am like, hey, you could train me from scratch up. I'm here.
And you found some impressive bugs.
Right. And I mean, what else was there to find? I'm pretty sure there was other stuff to find, because you gave me a whole box, but I managed to produce 2 items for you, give you a good present. I did something. It's not like I didn't do anything. I did something. And I became so infuriated, because their response was like, well, this is a new position that we were creating, and maybe we didn't think it through to figure out, just how green of a person we wanted. And I just couldn't. I was crying inside already. And when you're in a position and you start crying inside, your ears tend to like do this and close up, and it's numb, and you can't hear anything.
Right.
So that was me. And I literally closed down my laptop, went on my bed, and cried, and just I cried till I passed out because I really wanted this, and I really, really thought I had it. And all of those good things that you tell yourself to get you out of that mindset, like this is not for you, what's for you will come. None of those things mattered at that time. The only thing that mattered was I worked so hard for this for the past, it was 6 months at that time. 6 months. I just gave my entire everything for 6 months. What you said to me was misleading because you really made me feel like I had a shot. This was the first time that I was going into something without a doubt. Like I knew this was for me. I knew I was gonna get this because how could you say you wanted somebody green and I was the perfect presentation of green, and to turn around and say, well, maybe you didn't think it over, and that just broke me. It broke me. And if you know me, I am a positive person. I'm always like, all right, let's go. No, we'll figure that out. We'll figure that out. And that really broke me. So I stayed quiet for a couple of days, and I allow myself usually. I have 3 days of downtime for anything in life, and I've always had 3 days of downtime. I allow myself to brood and be miserable for 3 days. But after 3 days, I have to get back up because there's always someone depending on me. If it's not my kid, it's a family member. If it's not a family member, I have generations to provide for. So I can't, I can't be down for too long. So after 3 days, I get back up and I go again. And that's what I did. I got up, I went again, I went on another interview, I got turned down again, but I was okay with getting turned down. I started using it as experience. And the thing about it is, nobody wanted to give me experience. So I said, okay, if you're not going to give me experience, I'm going to make experience for myself. You are going to know my name. One way or the other, you're going to know my name. And that's when I reached out to Parker. Hey, Parker, I know you're in here somewhere.
Yep.
And we decided to do a podcast. And he was just like, I don't like being on the mic. I'm like, me.
Well,
me being
don't
on mic.
don't jump too far because I have that as a question. And yeah, shout out to Parker. And I see Parker is in here. As a matter of fact, where is it? He did say, yep, he said, hey everyone, and then he said hi. I can't find so I guess while I'm here, actually let me just reset some stuff here.
He likes resumes, by the way.
Yes, I saw that. So Zanette says she can relate to most of the things that you shared. And yes, by the way, thank you for sharing that that information. And I'm gonna go on a little rant about that in a second. James Carroll says, shout out to Metisha, Tish Talks Tech, which I'm also going to get into. Yep. Then there's Parker saying he loves helping to revamp resumes, and then it says that's a guilty pleasure. Then McKenna says the same thing. She says same. And then she says, I love doing resumes and helping out my fellow ladies revamp theirs and make that career transition. No, absolutely. Shout out to Textual Chatter. He said he's popping in real quick. Appreciate you, sir. And then there were a couple questions. So Parker actually says, because I think that played a role in what you were going into next. But so what advice would you give the people trying to get started and to be more active on social media?
Ask questions and don't get involved in drama. I saw all the drama. There's a lot of drama. But ask questions. Make yourself be known. Be present at for example, let's just take what's going on today. If you follow me or you follow Davin and you see that he has a podcast, make yourself present. Ask the questions. Say hello. I've learned so much from podcasts, and it's helped a lot. And if you want to be more active, you definitely need to put yourself out there. Not in a bad way, but ask questions. Say hi.
No, that's a good one. Studio Set Caleb, shout out to him, says, what are some things you learned about resume building that made the biggest impact to you?
So I know there's the keywords that the machinery and the automation and everything looks for to pull your resume, I would say definitely go with that route. But I feel like I did that, but when it was my turn, when I got that initial one-on-one, my resume didn't matter. I was my resume. I became my resume at that point. And I feel like it kind of goes hand in hand, because you may not want to put most of the stuff that you're putting on your resume, but you put it there for a reason. You put it to get noticed. Put whatever you need to put on your resume to get noticed. Obviously, ethically,
Don't
of course.
lie.
That's why I said ethically, of course. Um, but then when you do get that initial one-on-one, on that face-to-face, you become your resume. You have to sell yourself.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Let's see, hold on. Who's this? Sherry Ali says,
Oh,
I'm
that's my
here.
auntie. She just popped in. Hi, Auntie
Yeah.
Shirley.
Well, hi Auntie.
Oh,
Thank you
she's
for
from
joining.
Trinidad.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, thank you for joining. So, all right, so now I'm gonna go real quick. So for one, I'm glad that you were able to you give yourself those 3 days and move forward. And
Mhm.
also I hope you know that you not getting that job was no fault of your own. It was the company, because they tend to do things like that to try to see who they can get and how much attention they can get. And they know by saying they want to pick entry level, they're going to grab the biggest pool rather than saying they want someone with 3 to 5 years or 7 years or more.
Mhm.
Reason being, for two reasons. One, if they can get someone who they really want that's fairly new, sometimes they can angle that into screwing them another way, like salary wise, right?
Mhm.
Um, and then the other thing is, if you get someone who's a little bit more experienced, like myself or like a Charles or who's also in here, we'll probably spot the bullshit. And it's my show, sorry I didn't mean to cuss, but whatever. Well, you know what I'm saying, we'll spot some of the nonsense right then and there. So for them to do that to you, it was, yes, they said that they need to reevaluate what they were looking for, and maybe
Mhm.
you did miss a couple things, but they probably shouldn't have has put it out there as we're looking for someone who we can train from the ground up. So I'm glad you're able to move past that. And honestly, like that's not a company you want to work for
Right.
anyway. And any company that's pulling tactics like that, honestly, usually are the ones that have that revolving door of people. So they usually get what's coming to them one way or the other. Textual Chatter says, I do resumes in a way based on how a human will interact with them, which is why I don't focus as much on ATS. No, I agree, and like to your point, you have to sell yourself
Mhm.
once you get there. So yeah, the resume is a crucial piece, but when you don't have the information, which is where we're going to go into next, when you don't have the information, or not information, when you don't have the experience, and
What next?
you need to basically sell yourself and get them in front of you or get you in front of them, you have to do certain things. So yeah, so now you started you started blogging. You did the Tish
Oh
Talk
yeah.
Tech on Medium, right? And then you also linked up with Parker and did the Insecurity We Trust with your co-host Ali. Shout out to her.
Mhm.
uh, so talk about that experience, because now you're fairly new, right? Or you're new to the field, and now you are blogging about your experience, and you're hosting a podcast where you're probably interviewing people with more experience than you. So talk about that experience and how you're able to kind of navigate through that.
So the podcast with Ali was mostly a little talk Parker and I had. We were Discord, and Parker's camera shy, doesn't want to be on camera talk, and I was just like, that's me. I'm not camera shy. I love talking about this. I love the journey that I've had so far, and I wish I could include more people in it, more our people in it, my family members. So anytime I get the opportunity to talk about, transitioning into tech in this field, I always jump for it. And that's how the podcast came about. And my only disclaimer was that I don't have to do editing because I hate editing. I'm not editing anything. And he was just like, I'll do the editing if you guys want to co-host. And I'm like, yes, definitely. Um, Initially, I didn't really want to do the we grab someone from InfoSec that everybody knows and we interview, because I feel like that's almost what everybody does. I wanted to spice it up a little bit. Um, but we're slowly going into that direction. We've had amazing guests. We've had Kiki on there. She's just like so fierce and so amazing. And with each interview, I learn a little bit more about the industry. With each interview, I get to put myself out there a little bit more, and that's always at the back of my head that I don't have the experience, so I have to create the experience for myself, which also attributed to getting my job now because it's on my resume. I also landed an internship with a company called Shuffle. Shuffle is a company based out of Norway. It's an open source SOAR automated platform. Really, really good. And there I started learning how to do automations, installation. I learned to install things like Docker into Ubuntu. I'm learning, well, just finished building my own API. Hey, for the non-tech folks, this is big. um, and and that was another thing I put on my resume. And then I realized I started doing random check-ins with LinkedIn. I started posting on LinkedIn, and then I realized, hey, you appeared in 312 searches this week, 400 and something people saw your post. I started doing little things to draw attention, little things where I would go into Canva and create like a little post, a Tish Talks tech or a Tish Talks tidbit, and I'd be like, so do you know like the OSI model actually has like 8 and not 10 layers and not the traditional 8 layers. I started looking for interesting little tidbits that when you read it, it would pick up. That helps as well. I started being more interactive. I started jumping on podcasts. And I really had a whole job of getting myself known without pay. It was a job. I would get up in the morning, 9 o'clock, have my coffee, and I'm here and I'm studying. I'm in Discords. I'm talking to people. I'm hosting this podcast. I'm doing my internship. And, I'm clocking off at 10 o'clock in the night. And it was just like I had a whole job. And it worked in the end because somebody reached out to me someday. And like I posted recently, somebody took a chance on me. And this is because somebody wants to watch that mini beast develop into a growing beast. Because I am a mini beast. I go hard.
Absolutely.
Right?
And yes, absolutely. And again, I think that's something that we don't talk about enough. And going back to the question that Parker asked about the social media presence, is that when you have to treat yourself as a brand, right? One of these days, maybe soon, I'm going to sit down and actually talk about, because I think before you got on, I actually announced that I am no longer a free agent. But one of these days, I'm going to talk about that experience of navigating what I called the free agency. You called unemployment. I called it free agency. But, but I sold myself. I mean, on top of, yes, my experience played a major factor, but the content that I put out, the interviews that I've done, the blog posts, if when people go bring up my name, they usually see that before the resume.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So they see, oh, he's talked to these people. He's interviewed these people. He's did this blog. He's done this talk over here. And then they look at the resume and go, oh, okay, yeah, let's go talk to him. So you absolutely have to sell yourself, and make yourself putting yourself out there. And you did an amazing job. Like, it is, because it is work. You did an amazing job explaining that, where, you log on and you're making you're doing these interactions and you're doing these things. Like, people think podcasting is just I just get on for a little bit. I talk my shit for a little bit and then I'm out. There's a whole lot that goes into it. There's a lot of prep work. There's a lot of, there's just a lot of ins and outs that people don't see behind the scenes. So again, kudos to you for creating all that content. And yes, that content definitely helped, elevate you. And now you are officially a security engineer. So we're going to applaud that. And before we get to that point, we do have a question from McKenna Yakey. She did ask this earlier, and I was going to get to it, but she reminded me, so she did it again. So McKenna says, "Well, how are you enjoying your transition into the security engineer role? And as a security engineer herself, she's found the experience to be challenging but deeply motivating."
So if I can backtrack for a second.
Go ahead.
My job found me. I didn't find my job. Someone reached
out. That's a flex. That's a flex.
Someone reached out to me and said, "Hey, I want to connect you with this person." And when they connected me with that person, the person already knew me. The person already said they knew me from my social media presence. And at the end of the official one-on-one, they were like, "I am absolutely going to advocate for you to come on my team. I absolutely want you." So that's the power of networking. That's the power of branding yourself. Had I thought it would have happened this quickly? No, I was prepared to stay in this position and learn and grow for like about another 2-3 years. I should actually bring out my shipped t-shirt because I was gonna work shipped on the side. So I also bake. I was thinking about, pulling back out some of my stuff on baking because I already had it in my mind that this is a journey, but I definitely needed some time in the industry for someone to recognize me. And when I found when I read the role, it was that of a security engineer. My first thought was, I don't want to do this. I'm not a security engineer. And, I had to harshly get out of that mind frame that you will be a pen tester when the time is right. It's a journey. Mm-hmm. My mother always says this, trust the process. And it was a harsh reality because, ever since I read a book or like my 4th week in school, I was just like, this is what I want to do. Like, this fits me. And if something fits me, it has my undivided attention. Right. So I was just like, why do you want me to be a security engineer? I can't build nothing. I don't want to build nothing. I don't want to figure out how to build things. I just want to break it. And it was the most ignorant thought ever, because not until I started looking at the position, looking at the rules, seeing what they were doing, seeing that we're about to do, did I realize that this is actually the best position for me. This is actually this is like the great start. This is where you would want to start because it encompasses everything that I want to do. I'm learning to build, I'm learning to automate, and then somewhere in Q4, I get to break. I get to break. I get to build this. Then I get to hack it. Then I get to figure out how to defend it too. And I'm just like, this is it. This is exactly what everybody wants to do. I can't go into detail, but it's like, that's it. It's building out a whole platform. And I am now like so elated. I'm just like, yes, this is for me because this is exactly what I need to do. Full circle, learn everything, do everything, touch on everything. There's no way that I'm going to be bored. Am I always going to be working? Yes. Do I need to figure out how to find some sort of balance between that too? Yes. But I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. It feels like it's for me, and I would have rather gone this way than to just go and just start breaking into something immediately. So this definitely works for me.
And that, like I said, and that's like your mom said, you trust the process because you can, as someone who kind of, I guess, jumped into pen testing as their first cybersecurity role. And by the way, Curtis Dewberry says your bro is here.
So, that is my brother. Mom's kid.
So there you go. You got the whole family here. You got family here.
And, I always do.
So, and I love to see it. Absolutely. But as someone who jumped into the pen testing world from another part of tech, so I worked from network support to sysadmin and then jumped into pen testing. I do feel like there probably should have been a bridge between the two, because even though I was prepared to pen test, Windows environments because that's where I came from, I didn't know a lot about Linux until I started to mess around with Kali Linux and stuff like that. So I do feel like I think I would have probably benefited if there was like maybe an internship or something in like a SOC or something, in between, to kind of learn the different things to look out for, and have that, that internship type feel. And then also it was like a remote job, so I didn't really have that one-on-one with like my team lead or my supervisor, so a lot of it was learning on the fly. So you definitely have to trust the process, and you definitely have to kind of be patient. And a lot, going back to what you were talking about earlier, a lot of it is going to be some stuff that you're going to have to do outside of work. So, competing in CTFs or going to conferences or building your own lab, and developing those skills. So when the time comes and your team lead or your supervisor gives you that opportunity to go break stuff in what you say about 6 months now, you can impress them to the point where it's like, oh yeah, get over here on this offensive security team. So, and how to find the right people. If you have any questions, you got Phil, you got me, you got a couple offensive people on you got Charles in here. So you got a few offensive people who can kind of point you in the right direction. And just to jump back to the podcasting thing real quick, not to sound biased, but I think the episode you had with the AppSec engineer, I think that was probably your best episode. But y'all should go listen. Listen, there's something about that guest that just really resonates with me. So, but yeah. All right, so let's see. Oh, someone says buy followers, primes, and viewers from my stream, and you're off my chat. Bye. So now, okay, so you're officially in the security field. You're a security engineer. You are learning about the field as you're in the field. My question to you is, was it all worth it?
Oh, when I looked at my paycheck yesterday, absolutely. But yeah, it absolutely is, and it's kind of like, it's kind of reminiscent of when I first moved from Trinidad to America, and I went to Manhattan. It was, I don't want to say it wasn't like a culture shock, but it was just like a harsh reality of this is your world now. I came from a small Caribbean island with amazing beaches, not too many tall buildings, and here I was standing in the Big Apple, the biggest city in the world, the biggest of everything, completely overwhelming and so much. And I feel like, coming from a person that really just had nothing, the transition to getting to where I am now, it's a real tearjerker, but it just shows, it kind of is like that American dream, mommy, I made it, that kind of thing. But it takes time getting used to, because the benefit, can we just tech is it, yo? The benefits, the packages, the stuff that comes. I'm still opening up onboarding emails, and I'm just like, I get this. Oh, I get this too. I went. I was
I'm about to get
completely.
you to promote next week's episode, but go ahead.
I was completely Trinidadian, all black, West Indian, with that Google Doc form they sent that says, here, this is a supply list. Let us know what you want. Baby, I checked off everything. I want everything. You want to give me 2 screens? Okay. I want 2 screens. You want to give me connections and adapters? Sure. What kind of mechanical keyboard? Hold on. Let me check the price of this one. Oh, yep. We're going with that one. I checked off everything. I didn't even have room. I had to go box some stuff up. There's boxes on that side, but I got my 2 screens. I got a brand new MacBook Pro. Hey, it's looking Gucci
Look,
over here.
round of applause for the perks.
But it all ties in with coming from that stereotypical of being in a 9 to 5 and working from paycheck to paycheck and not being able to have a good balance of life. For example, I got sick today. I called out and I almost got yelled at because my manager was like, "Why are you online? Go rest." And I'm just like, I'm still in that headspace because I'm not used to this. I'm not used to if I can't call out too much. I've never been allowed to call out too much. What is unlimited PTO? Hold up. So I could have a bad day, or I could wake up super depressed today, or know that I have stuff to compile with my kid, or I need to do stuff with my kid that's in work hours, and I can literally just say, "Hey, I'm not gonna be here today," and not be penalized. Like,
Yeah.
this is my life now. This life I could have. This is the life. This is what it's all about. And I feel like most people, but for me, I've never seen the six figure part. I've never looked at the 6 figure part of tech. I've always looked at it as this is something that I like. Um, you know, I'm not gonna get this. I like this, and the ability to step into an environment that is unlike anything that you've had before. I know a lot of people, like I can tell you from me and complete transparency, I'm not used to it. So it definitely is a bit of a shock acclimating to that new lifestyle, and you feel super proud of yourself because it's like I worked for this, not the fact that I can run K8s in like an AWS environment, yes, but the fact that I can put in a note that says on a specific date because I have to take my grandmother to an appointment. It's
Mhm.
being able to have that balance of life
Right.
and not be penalized for it, not be guilted, not be rushing, not having to try to make other ways and means for it to happen. This is the life that I want to have. This is the life that I want my kid to have. This is the life I would want everybody to have because I truly believe it's a life that we deserve. I had a conversation with my mom the other day and I was almost in tears because I felt so guilty running through like my onboarding packages and there's this perk here. I mean, you guys know the perks. There's perks. And I'm running through like all the perks and I'm just like it's I'm almost brought to tears because it's so unfair. I feel it's so unfair that the average person who is still working just as hard as I am, who is still probably just as dedicated to their position as I am, is not able to have this life just because they're in a different role. And I get a little teary eyed. I just really wish that there was a way to advocate for just the average person who even works at Walmart as a cashier. They can have these same things too. Like why can't they have that? Yes, I work hard for my position. Yes, I love my position, but I really wish that the benefits part it was like a universal thing for everybody because I feel like everybody deserves to have that umbrella of comfort over their head when it comes to their job.
Absolutely. Well said. I probably shouldn't, but I feel like I feel the same way, and I think that's part of the reason why I work so hard to try to get people to look at tech as another option. Because you're absolutely right. You have people who work really, who work difficult jobs and don't have some of the perks or some of the benefits. And also kudos to your employer for having the benefits, but actually enforcing the benefits, right? So you have companies like my last place that will say, "Oh, you have this, you have unlimited PTO, you have this, you have that, whatever." And then when you go to use it, they try to guilt you into it, or they try to penalize you, or they try to do certain things like, "Well, since you work remote, you should work extra hours." And if you don't stand firm in in your principles and know your worth, you'll find yourself being burned out because your job is burning you out, because they feel like they need to punish you for the same perks that they offered to you as an incentive for you to join. So absolutely, take advantage of those perks, and I get your point about feeling guilty that others don't have them, but you earned it. And I'm gonna tell you something else. You're going to continue to earn it, because as much as you're enjoying the ride now, there's going to come a time, maybe 6 months to a year from now, where you're going to go, flight attendant wasn't that bad. Right? And then you're going to remember, but these perks, right? And it's one of the things that I tell people all the time. When you get to a certain point, or if you're in a certain situation where money isn't the key motivating factor, you're going to need that what else, right? See, a lot of people just kind of run to, oh, the salary, and they overlook the perks. And then guess what? Because they were rushing to get to the bag, they don't navigate it the right way, and then they spend the money, and now you're stuck because you done went and bought the car, you done went and bought this and that and this. And now you need more money, because now you done worked your way up. And now your credit to debt ratio is crazy, your bills are backed up, and now you're like, I need more money. And now you're scrambling, and you're doing the same rat race all over again. So I tell people, navigate it, be fiscally responsible, and take advantage of some of those perks, which is another reason why I'm having that talk next week with my panel, which I'll get into. But before I do that, shout out to Master IT, who says tech can be a pathway to true freedom. And I agree. I'm actually going to give the little gem for that. Because I feel like, again, segueing into the talk for next week, the salary jumped, right? I'm not counting your pockets. I'm not pocket watching, but your salary jumped, and now it puts you in a position where you're able to think about other things than, crap, how am I gonna live paycheck to paycheck to make these ends meet? So now it opens up different things where you can say, oh, I can actually invest. Oh, I can actually put away to a 401k. Oh, I can put away to my kids' college fund. Oh, I can start my own business or do something, because now you have the resources to do it. So absolutely take advantage of all of that. So thank you again to Master IT, and thank you for the $10. Let's see. Hey, Philip Wiley's here. He says, hey, buddy.
Hey, that's my buddy.
Yeah, shout out to Phil. Zanette says she loves the conversation. Helmet Chili says, big up. Yeah, listen, your family is all
That's my
over.
mom. Lana's my mom. A great job.
See, again, and I think that's the other part that doesn't get talked about enough. Shout out to your family.
Your support system.
Yes,
listen, I can tell you about support. Support is having a bit of a breakdown, and there's a knock on your door, and there's my kid bringing me tea. Tea is her thing. She makes me tea, and it's probably at 11 o'clock in the night, and I'm there and I'm pounding away at the laptop. We live like roommates. I see her when she's hungry or if she needs something. Other than that, she completely gives me her space. But she knows in a couple of those moments, sometimes at my lowest moment, it's almost as if she just knows. And I'll just hear that tiny little knock, and she comes up and she's like, "Here, I brought you a cup of tea, Mom." And that cup of tea, it powers me for 3 to 4 days after. I can sit reliving that tender little moment that I had, that moment and that's her way of saying, hey, I know you're kind of going through it, and I'm here for you. Yeah. Support is having an aunt that has her problems, her family, her whole lifestyle to deal with in another different country. But yet still, every time I pick up my phone and I say, hey, Auntie Shelly, the entire world stops for her. Her entire world stops, and she's there. She's there for every rant. She's there for every podcast, every certificate, everything. My Auntie Shelley is there for support. Is having a brother who tells you things like how much is your pay, and don't talk about paycheck because my ears are gonna go up. Um, um, but truly believes in everything that I do. I have my mom and I have my grandma, and without my mom and my grandma, I couldn't even be here sitting. My mom sacrificed so much. When I had initially gotten accepted for per scholars, my mom took, I want to say, took money and said, "Here, you need a new laptop," because clearly I thought 4 gigs on a MacBook Pro was enough for this stuff. But I can't even hold half a VM. But here I was like, "Yeah, I got a laptop. I'm good." And then 2 days before class, I'm like, they told me my laptop isn't good," and effortlessly, like in typical mom fashion, "Here, go get yourself that laptop." I don't know where the money came from. It probably could have been for a bill she had or something she was saving for. But that is support. Support is not even knowing how she found the money, how she came up with the money, not ever having to worry about that. It was always, "Here, go do what you need to do." And my mother has always been that type of woman. My mother has always been my backbone, my support. I call it my bank. Because when I have to do stuff, I'm like, I'll talk to my friends and jokingly I'll say, "Okay, hold on. Let me go see if I can get a loan from Bank of Lana, and I'll let you know if we can do this trip or not." And she's just always been that mom that always finds it, but she's also been that mom that never yells at you. I have so many certificates, and I have certificates for everything. I've done bartending, I've done cosmetology, and I definitely wandered in life, always trying to figure out
Like a true
where I
career.
would land. And she has never once ever made me feel bad for any class that I've taken, any
Mhm.
certificate that I've gotten. She's never made me feel bad for anything that I've accomplished that didn't do. And parents are usually like that. "I spent all this money to send you to college and you never did." And I've never heard anything like that from my mom, and it was just idea after idea. I wanted to do pastry. My mom bought me ovens, all my equipment. When I started doing a podcast, my mom bought me a brand new screen, and she's just always been my biggest support system ever. And I've never had any backlash from that. So now I'm happy to say I'm gonna buy her a house. Um, just so I can get breakfast because I'm gonna live downstairs too. But uh, yeah, but again, it brings me back to being in a position to do for others that you absolutely are honored to. It comes like second nature to give back, to provide, and all of this would not have been possible if I did not transition into tech. And it's something that I heavily advocate for because yes, it's a journey, but it's life changing. And it's not just life changing for you, it's life changing for you and everyone around you. I could have never thought of doing anything in the air that would have given me this much knowledge, flexibility, and the ability to provide generational wealth, which is something that we as Black people need to understand that we have to provide, for our future generations. And
Go ahead.
being in this industry allows me to do that. I'm not sitting here worried about, um, if someone dies, we got to go put up a GoFundMe. I'm in a position to say, as morbid as it is, I can do that for you. I can take care of you. I'm in a position to say, Mom, I want to retire you in 2-3 years. Just here, stay at home, live off of like two tenants or something in a house or something. You want to be able to do those things, and you sit and you see it happen to people all the time in your jobs, and you see it happening, and you're just stuck there like, what am I not doing? How can I get to this? And it's a lot. But then when you do get to it, you feel that sense of achievement. You feel that you breathe a little lighter. There's that weight lifted because it's like, all right, I'm here. I know what the industry is like. I know the ups, I know the downs, I know the good, I know the bad, but I'm here and I know what I can do with it. So where's my mind right now? Where does my mind need to be right now? And my mind is super focused. Is super focused on being the best version of myself that I can be, always promoting, positivity, and taking care of my family and providing for my future generations. And I will always be a huge, huge advocate of saying, get into tech because it can be done. I am living proof. It can be done. It's hard, but you can put your mind to it, you can do it, and it's definitely life changing, and it's that ticket out. It really is that, or stand by the bodega and buy some tickets. That could be a ticket out too. But
Look, that's it. That's the show. Good night, everybody. I'm done. No, but for real, we're gonna
I want to say
shop.
one more thing. I also would not be here without my support system from Twitter. Twitter is a huge support system. Um, my Discord family as well. Huge, huge, huge. So
See, I
too
need to
many
get
names
better.
to plug in, but
I need
Twitter
to
is
get better
definitely
on
there for
Discord.
me.
Yeah, I need to get better on Discord. But shout out to your family. That's amazing because a lot of people don't get that. And McKenna says a support system is so important. Family, including the one that's not related by blood, is everything. No, it's absolutely true. And the story with your daughter coming in to give you the tea, that those it's those little things, right? It's those little things that mean so much because it's a lonely grind. It's a grind and it's lonely and people talk about imposter syndrome once you're in the field, but they don't talk about the imposter syndrome you have when you're trying to get in to the
Yeah.
field, when you're trying to study and you can't understand that concept, and you look online and you see the trolls who are like, oh, it's so simple, it's an easy, I can't believe you don't get it, all that nonsense. And it's kind of like, well, what's wrong with me? So shout out to your family and shout out to you for seeing that, because on the flip side of that, you can also be one of those unappreciative little twerps who who gets all of those things and then just kind of runs off. So Phil actually told your mom in the chat that she did a great job, and
Awesome.
I agree 100%. And Kalila says she is so glad you found your home with us in cybersecurity, and I am absolutely.
And I want to touch on that too for like if
Yes.
I can get 2 more seconds because I know we're down to time.
Yes.
Um,
Go ahead.
I was fortunate to get onboarded into a team of amazing people. Granted, I'm the only female there, and they'll probably realize it in a little bit because I'm super chatty. So they get that, hey, good morning, how was your weekend, kind of thing. Um, but I'm the only female on a team of all male. So I've had that moment where I felt like there was that black girl pressure to do more, that female in a male dominated team industry type world.
Work
And
work twice as hard to get half the
yeah,
recognition.
yeah, I did. I felt like that for like a day or my second day or my first day or something. And I remember talking to Kiki about that, and she was just like, so super positive in her response. And with I can say effectively it's been a week now, and I just have the best team ever. Everyone is so supportive. I'm in there with imposter syndrome every day, and I'll post questions because obviously I'm gonna ask questions regardless of whether I know or what I don't know. I'm there and I'm asking questions, and with every single question, I am never met with anything but support from my team lead, the person that's above me. Everybody's on that team. They all are literally full circle. We're here for you. They express that daily. If I'm sick or if I have a question, if I have a problem, we're in meetings. Oh my gosh, there's so many meetings in tech. I didn't even know that. Anyway, we're in
Oh,
meetings
you learn.
and I'm silent. They're discussing things, but it's the little things that I catch on. It's me here and Tish. Are you okay with this? Or yeah, Tish is with us today and she's new on the team, and I'm not silent anymore. Like I'm them. I'm with them, and they make sure to include me in everything. They ask my opinions. Granted, most of the times it's like I don't know what the hell this is, but yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Or um I'll interject in a meeting, and even though I'm super super new, and whatever little question that I ask, they treat it respectfully. um it's never a put down, whether it was the wrong question or maybe it didn't need to be said at that time. They still take that time out to make me feel included, and I just love that so much. I feel like, it was one of my main concerns that, I'd probably get onboarded into a team. And because I haven't even reached a year in tech yet, July 13th is it's gonna make it an official year for me. And I definitely had the concern that, okay, I don't know how they're going to treat me because I'm super new. I don't know if, you're going to get one of those people who in the back of their mind is like, I had a friend that could fill this role and you got it. And, the people tend to, you get it in almost every work atmosphere. And I really, really did not want to get that. And I'm just really, really fortunate to say that I did not. I love my team, and I know I'm going to go far. And it's all an attribute to them as well. So it's really important to be in a good workspace and a good mental environment. And I just pray that for everybody. I really, really want that for everybody because it helps. It really does help a lot.
No, absolutely, and shout out to your team. And I see some. I thought I saw someone who might be on your team in the chat.
Oh, really?
And so if they are here, I will say, uh, take care of her. She's a good one. Take because if you don't, when she get that experience, we'll be there to pick her up and get her on her feet somewhere else. So make sure you take care of the good ones when you see them. So, again, congratulations to you that you have her here advocating for you guys and girls and everyone there. But don't mess up. Don't mess up because she gonna get the experience, and we gonna get her right real quick. So, all right. With that being said, I don't want to. We are running a little over. So what's next for you? What goals do you have?
I just spent 6 weeks in Trinidad. I went back home because I hadn't been there post pandemic, and got I made a lot of friends. I talked to some people in the cybersecurity region down there. The security posture is terrible. So I'm kind of putting out like a long term project that I'd like to be more present and figure out a way to train or do some training and increase the security posture, mostly in schools, and try to get as many of our youths in tech as I can down there. That's a really, really long term project of mine. Right now, I still have my podcast going on. I still have my internship. I did not leave my internship, and I probably would never leave my internship. I still have that going on. My days are still very long. Nothing much has changed. I work and then I work after I work, and then I've been kind of diving into like coding and CTFs now. So I'm gonna um, that's probably going to be like the range of questions you guys are going to see on Twitter. I'm going to start talking more about CTS because I'm kind of heading in that direction. Um, just trying to gear myself up for fourth quarter when we start to do that pen testing part and work. uh, getting my T's crossed, the P's and Q's together, that kind of thing. Definitely trying to figure out that work balance life. type thing, because it's like you grind so hard, you get the job, and it's either, you get too acclimated with your surroundings, you get too comfortable. I don't ever want to become too comfortable. I always want to be challenged. I always want to have something going on. I tend to thrive in chaos, as weird as it sounds, but I always need something to be going on. So definitely heading into CTF and that path for now.
Well, stay tuned with the CTF stuff because I should be making an announcement
Yeah.
somewhere towards the end of the summer. So we'll see what's going on. So um, you know what's coming next. The last question. If you don't know, this is the question that I asked to all of my guests. Tish, what is your why?
Family always is, always will be. My my family has my entire heart. I love my family, each and every one of them, the ones that I agree with, the ones that I don't agree with. Um, and internally providing for my future generations. Everything that I do now, all of my decisions, I don't think about myself. They're always with the mindset that my daughter at someday is, oh, she's in here, maybe gonna have kids, maybe. But if she doesn't, I have cousins that have kids. I have my brother that may have kids too. And my line, my generations, everybody that comes after me, they are my thoughts, they are my why. I need to leave this world with something for them to like look back on and say, okay, fine, cousin Tish did it, grandma did it, great grandma did it, so if she could have done it, I can do it too. I definitely want my struggles, my story, my accomplishments to be uh, just something that they could look back on, to be inspired by. I just want to leave my mark for my family. My family is all I have, and they definitely are my heartstrings, each and every one of them, from my auntie Shelly and her boys and Jamal, Justin, my brother, my daughter, my mom, everybody, just everybody. My family is without a doubt my why.
I love it. I love it 100%. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody watching, this has been my guest, Tish Harper. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for coming on, even though you were under the weather. Please tell the people how to find you if they don't know where you are already.
Okay, so on Twitter, I am at Little Miss Muffin Cup. On LinkedIn, we use my government name there because they won't let me change it. So that is Metisha Harper. Um, a couple discords. There's the HIH community, Hackers Improve Here community. That's also a discord that I run with a couple of friends. And what is it? Parker has the InfoSec Security Collective. I'm also there as well. And yeah, that's about it.
All right, there you go. So make sure you go follow her on social media, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. Go to the Discords. I think I actually just joined that Discord the other day. I didn't know about it until like 2 days ago. The HIH Discord. But like I said, I need to be more active on there as well. But thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing your
Thank
story.
you.
For those who are watching and are curious about next week, next week's episode is going to be a big one. I kept talking and alluding to it earlier on into the show in the show, but next week's show is going to be called Chasing the Bag in Tech: How to Secure and Maximize Your Income in Tech. You see, Tish was talking about it earlier about, making the money and then being able to do certain things. She talked about rental income and investing and perks and benefits. And the purpose of this talk is to talk about those things that a lot of us don't know and a lot of us may need help with if we do know a little bit about it. So I went and got this powerhouse panel. So I'll have Mary Galloway, David Lee, Tamika Reed from Women in Linux. I do. It does say Tyrone Wilson, but Tyrone will not be there. But I will have I will have Tanisha Martin from Black Girls Hack on the show. I have Dara J. Footman, John Breath, Henri Davis, who was just here earlier, Textual Chatter, McKenna Yaki, who's in the chat now. And then I also have Simone B, also known as Bees, who has a very interesting story because she is now officially retired at, I believe, 29 years old. All from tech income and then investing and doing a lot of different things. So I will definitely be there with my notepad. You probably won't even hear from me too much except to ask the questions. I'm just going to shut the hell up and get out of the way and just let them go. But make sure you tune in for that one next week. Tish, like always, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. And I will see you all next week. So take care. Let me make sure I get to here. See ya.